Yeah. I'm back. I'm back. Yeah. Look, crazy 8th grade, nerdcore rap guy. Got into a dual fate and I just pulled a trap card. Third-rate rappers with a fourth-rate catalog. Destined for the shadow realm, y'all should never act hard. Flow is so insidious that I need an apprentice type. Master with the force, peep the context in my sentence, right? Phantom like the Sithis, just don't ask me what my pen is like. They know that I'm the menace, who you kidding? Bitch, I'm dangerous like. Sweet to drive, hide-headed, rhymes are surely cold. Tested, you can never twist my metal like the jury goes. I ain't never mad when I push it to the max. I got Chris riding with me, bout to turn this bitch to Fury Road. Since animated, I'm the one the crew congratulated. When this will provide protective cover like it's laminated. Damn, I made this 16 like a guillotine. It's fascinating. If you think that you're ahead, you get decapitated. All that aside, I ain't merely here to rap words. I'm here to tell you who representing for the black nerds. And to remind you, neither one of these are bad words. Biggest living mirrors, they just choose to see it backwards. Who be the leaders of discussion when a topic trends? Dissections got the culture under microscopic lens. Who got the type that you can miss it from the start and make you feel like an expert on the subject by the time it ends? Check the stat, Louis, viewership is mad nice. All these other shows don't seem to cut it, that's a bad slice. Off the books with unscripted drills you can't write. No vampires, but these interviews on Anne Rice. Yeah, this is the best part. Rhymes on Mandalorian, Independence made a best score. Starting a war with these stars, you won't get far. This is the way you play a game of life or Death Star. So far removed from the drama, we don't know this harm, but won't hesitate to shed a light like a Patronus charm. With mischief managed, troubles at a disadvantage. Must be something in the water, dip your toe because you know it's warm. Where can you find another show with such a fine cast? And if you try to box them in, they playing Minecraft. And basically to sum it up like you define math, this crew's the best and it figures like a line graph. A merry band like the words I do. Level-headed, you don't have to have absurd IQs. They know you can relate because they're nerds like you. With their help, you'll see the world from a blur's eye view. Yeah. You are now tuned in to Blerd's Eye View. And without further ado, we out. Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Tuesday. Guess what? That means you get a new episode of Blerd's Eye View. I'm your man on the wall, your host, captain of the ship, Chris Fury. Thank you for tuning in, showing your love over on the YouTube channel and on the Twitch channel. Thank you once again. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So we're just gonna get it started. We're gonna start it with our shipwright. Shipwright of the ship, Spartan's in the building. What's up, Spartan?
Yo, I'm here, sir. How about yourself?
You sound like how I feel, tired.
Well, just waiting for these gummy bears to kick in. Rush. Trying to. Oh, it's a rough day in the video game world. I'm staying away from politics right now. It's just I probably go to a safe space, but then Warner Brothers decide to lose their mind. But fun.
What's up, Lanny? What's going on, Lizzie? And Emma has made it in, of course.
That train ain't never late.
You know what? I think while we wait for the rest of the crew to get through, we can go ahead and get some of this because it has been a lot going on. So along with Marvel Rivals basically having an implosion, Warner Brothers Games decided they were shutting down everything. They canceled Wonder Woman game that they had coming up, and amongst some other things, their whole division. They shut down the whole division.
Three studios. And then probably the most anticipated game that probably could have saved the studio, you now decide to scrap. It's Batgirl all over again.
Yes.
I just feel like that vault at Warner Brothers, either that's got the most heightened security, or just a lock and people forgot about it. One of the two.
It's wild. Like this happened just a few hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
When we got this news about the game system, everything getting shut down, and I'm like, yo, what the hell?
I don't understand it. I mean, I get it. Warner Brothers is hemorrhaging. Warner Brothers Discovery, whatever the merger name is called these days, they're hemorrhaging money, still trying to conserve. And the whole time, I kind of feel like I kind of look at James Gunn and just go, "Sir, there's a Wonder Woman game out there that people would love to probably see the end product for. You kind of got the Midas touch in DC right now. I'm just saying. I know you put the proverbial wall between you and Warner Brothers. I still think you could save it. That's all I'm saying."
It's you know what? Another gamer we got on our group, Tafari TV's in the building. All right, I know you just found out just a few hours ago about Warner Brother shutting down their games division and canceling a Wonder Woman game. What the hell's going on?
So, like the rumored Arkham Batman Beyond, is that going with it too, or is Rocksteady safe?
Supposedly it's not on the chopping block. Supposedly,
yeah. Considering the fact how many times they delayed on it,
right?
And this, I don't know how I feel. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like Lizzie said, yeah, and we're only in February.
And Suicide Squad got the full press. That's the thing about it. Kill the Justice League got the full run. Wonder Woman can't even get a TV spot. That's the part that's not making sense.
I have so many feelings about that, because let's be honest, no one was looking for Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. No one.
Much. Yeah.
You fumble it. Bama's saying it right. They fumbled. Yes, they are fumbling the bag. They fumbled the bag with Gotham Knights. How do you take an engine that worked perfectly with your entire Arkham series, that all you're doing is just, we're doing the same thing, we're just adding more characters, and it's not Batman.
Because
now you get to play at least 4 of the sidekicks.
You have idiots that have either never read any of the comics, or you have terribly written storylines. It's like, we're just gonna rehash the same thing for each character and basically make you pay $70 for it.
And then that's all it is. Gotham Knights just Arkham Light, like it was technically a different franchise with no count and like half the stuff you got offered in Arkham.
Like I said, you had it was a perfect blend of what you needed. How many of us has played any of the Arkham series and said, man, it'd be great if you could play Robin or Nightwing or Jason Todd or Batgirl or Batwoman or you. It would be cool to do that.
You could have a full on game, because we did have a little bit from Arkham Knight. It was a little bit from Arkham Knight where you got to play Red Hood, or you got to play Nightwing, or you got to play younger Robin. But again, imagine an entire game, like you said, and it's not like you can't pick a rogue from Batman's gallery and say, here's the person you have to fight throughout the game. You could have put Red Hood up against Black Mask. You could have put Batgirl up against Firefly. You could have put young Robin up against Mad Hatter, a rarely used Batman villain in video game. You could have done that.
You even had even DC Universe Online. It's like, I played that game religiously, and then I stopped because adulting. And only to turn back around, I'm like, I don't know if I can find my squad again. Let's find out. And I'm like, yo, nothing's changed.
No updates, no nothing.
I think
at least an update.
I think DC is still going. I think it gets updates like once a year, but I think it's still like alive.
DC Universe, yeah.
Yeah.
But who's talking about it now?
There's a very small group of diehard fans. About the best way I could put that, because I even from time to time like, oh, it's kind of like seeing somebody see if they still have a pulse, like, oh, you're still here, and then you forget about them again for another year.
Yeah,
until they're brought back up again.
Like I still have two characters on that game that are drastically different.
No, go ahead.
I don't know. It just that it bothered me just seeing that news today. And I'm like, what are y'all doing over there, Warner Brothers? The moves that you should make, you're not making, and the moves that you are making is what's tanking you even further.
But it's almost
your best move was James Gunn. That was your best move.
And even he was smart enough to put a wall between y'all. He was smart enough to put that line in the sand and go, don't cross it. I stay on my side, you stay on your side. We're gonna be good fit. We're gonna be good neighbors that way. But no, it's just the whole thing of it's like Warner Brothers games. It's like they had. I'm sorry, Tafar, what are you gonna say?
I said that man has a hands-off policy in his contract.
Yeah. That's it. Because I don't want, don't get me wrong, as a Batman fan, I have said this multiple times. I will always roll with Batman. He is my go-to, above all else, favorite character. He has had Rockstar. WB Games has had a long, successful history with Batman games. I don't think they've actually put out a bad Batman game in the Arkham universe.
Right.
That being said, I think I have been saying this a long time ago. Warner Brothers could have stretched out. You could have gave us a decent Superman video game. You could have gave us a decent Wonder Woman video game. You could have gave us a decent Flash game. You could have went down any other hero and began a video game with them. And it's, depending on how it's done, would have been very well. But no, they see Batman and immediately they're going to, oh, we need another Batman game. As a Batman fan, how many times can you keep telling the same goddamn story? Just how?
I will say, the original Xbox had a good Batman game. Had two of them, actually. They had two of them. They had Batman Begins, which was cool because you got a chance to. There was a scene where you got to drive the Batmobile, and they had Batman the animated series, which was beautifully done. It looked amazing.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: like you could put it on God mode, so you had unlimited handcuffs. You could beat up your thugs in a certain area. If you turn back around, they reappear, they respawn. But it was still fun. It had a lot of replayability factors to it. And Batman Begins was just downright fun.
But it was different. That's the things about it. That's why I was like, when they said they were going to come out with a Wonder Woman game, I'm like, okay.
Let's see how they play. I'm looking at melees. I'm thinking God of War.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what basically it should be. It's like give me God of War. Just forget about it's gonna be brutal because Wonder Woman doesn't leave anybody alive. She doesn't have a rogues gallery, so I'm okay with the fact that you're gonna have to up the. It's gonna make God of War kind of look squeamish like Kratos. Even Kratos had a limit. God damn.
Yeah, he's like, oh damn, you snapped their neck too? Yes, all of them.
But I'm just saying, it's sad. Again, I know what the gaming industry is changing. It's just that you had a gem in Wonder Woman, and now it'll be interesting to see if another game studio picks it up because technically they did announce the game. The game itself can still be picked up somewhere else. Gunn could step in and say, we want to keep it. It's just for now it's scrapped.
Yeah. But while we're talking about DC, we know that they did drop a lot of news yesterday. Good news. They are working on a Teen Titans film. Anna Nogueira. I want to make sure that's how I'm saying it. Make sure it's right. Is writing the script. She's the same person that wrote Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and she's gonna pin the script for that one. They weren't sure if it was gonna be live or animated. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be live. I think this might be part of the reason why there is a hold on the Brave and the Bold run?
It could be done live because we've kind of already. I mean, we've had a Teen Titans movie with the Judas contract, so I mean, it's not like we already had an animated live. It can be done because I mean, look what they did with DC's Titans. I mean, love it or hate it, it lasted 3 seasons. It was actually pretty good. So of course, I could see a movie coming from that. So yeah, I'm okay with that. It's just give Beast Boy a little bit more leeway. That's all I'm saying. You know,
please.
I mean, between a bear and a tiger. I mean, that was his.
I was like, dude, there are other creatures. I like. Okay, this is a budgeting thing, isn't it?
I'm like, was Peter mad about the use of animals in Titans? That's the reason why I was like, okay, we'll give you a bear and we'll give you a tiger. Well, what about a bird? You get a bear, you get a tiger. I'm like, that's the limit.
You gotta make it count. You gotta make it count. There's no details on the Teen Titans film, but just with us in the room, there's what do you think about a potential lineup? Obviously, in my opinion, Robin, Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, Beast Boy. My opinion. But with Gunn saying that he's keeping Blue Beetle in his universe, you know, he's bringing Damian Wayne into the mix. So there's your Robin. I don't know. I mean,
there could be, you could do cameos. I mean, there's nothing wrong with cameos. Blue Beetle's already established, so I see no problem with that.
You could have an expanded teen roster that they could call upon, kind of like the last arc in the 03 Titans when they had to call on everybody.
Yeah. So I think I can do it. Now,
you could do that, and at the same time, I mean, you can even bring back. You can even resurrect Deathstroke. You can resurrect. I mean, not the. I was already gonna say. What are you gonna say, Chris?
No, I was gonna go with that. Like, if you had a potential villain, you either have. You could use Trigon, you could use Brother Blood, but we've seen that in the television show, the live action show. Or you can go with Slade, and let's face it,
I will never forget that episode. I will never forget that episode for as long as I live. That man had Robin shook, and he wasn't even alive. Just you know how bad of a villain you are that even in death you still haunt the hero. Damn.
Slade gave Robin the blue. Several episodes in this man was from the shadows, giving him the blues. And when I'm like, he can handle him,
right?
Woo.
Right. That was, you talk about stressful.
And then came back from hell so we could do it all again.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I said, that's saying a lot. When you have messed. I mean, it was a great episode, but still, now do that on a live series. You may actually resurrect a potential Titans franchise. Really,
and this is a good example, and this is a good if this is the route they go. This is a perfect, in my opinion. This is a perfect way for them to bring Joe Manganiello back in to play Deathstroke.
I'm not against that. He would be. I mean, for all intents and purposes, from the Snyder side of things, he would have been freaking perfect in Deathstroke.
Yeah,
I mean, he had the look.
He's probably still got the suit at home, just collecting dust.
Yeah, I mean, all we got was a look, and fans were like, "Yo, this could be." You got that right. You got everything else was a little shaky, but you got that right.
I mean, you gave us a Lex Luthor that was on ADHD medication, but yeah, I mean, Jesus.
At least at the end, I was like, where's this guy been? This is who I was looking for the entire time.
The one that had the post glow up, he's like, I'm okay now.
Got the suit, you're bald, you're on the yacht. I'm like, where's that guy been? I've been looking for that guy the entire film,
on the cutting room floor. Mostly the cutting room floor.
Right next to Coyote versus Acme and Batgirl.
Damn.
Cybersecurity hackers. You have just two requests. You see the state of things in the country. You can kind of help out. Call it Robin Hood. and we'll thank you later. Two, you can literally someone release Acme versus Wile E. Coyote.
All we need is someone to pull a Ryan Reynolds.
There were days when we had forums that Snakes on the Plane was leaked. Black Dynamite was leaked. Wolverine Origins, before the CGI was added in, was leaked. Blade Trinity was leaked. Yet we still went to go see these movies.
Mm-hmm. And again, it makes sense. It's like you, and I'm not saying, because again, it always comes down to executives out there saying, "Oh, well, this can't make money, or this can't make money." I'm like, if you say Coyote versus Acme cannot make money, I'm just going to assume you've never watched Looney Tunes. I'm going to assume you never watched a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. I'm assuming you never watched a Roadrunner cartoon. I'm just going to assume off the bat that you were just raised on a compound that just looked at Little House on the Prairie. That's what I'm guessing. Because
you robbed us of Brendan Fraser being Firefly.
Yeah. Which again, I would have loved to see I would have loved to see Waylon Jennings Waylon Smith as Firefly. I would have loved to see that. Just because it's different.
And this was during Brendan Fraser's comeback trail.
Oh yeah.
This would have been perfect.
He didn't. I mean, that boy wasn't racked up. He done got back in shape. I was like, dang.
Yeah.
This way we thought it a mummy movie.
Yeah. That's the same thing I said.
Is this around the time he did The Whale and started coming back to film?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was like 3 months after The Whale, and he was like, they were really hyping up Batgirl, and they was like, yeah, I'm gonna be playing Firefly in it. Then old girl was, getting some press tours, and then that's when the whole train halted.
Yeah. Then
because of consumer reviews, the excuse was consumer reviews. I'm like, well, who felt that bad that you got a review bomb before it gets to theaters? That's my question. That's some diabolical work.
No, I sat back and was like, who did you ask? Who was the consumers? You didn't ask us. So
you didn't ask comic book readers. You didn't. Matter of fact, let's just take it one step further. You just didn't ask people who enjoy movies.
Right. See, Trey said it. He's like, I remember Star Wars Episode 3 was out on the bay before it hit the big screen. Hackers need to tighten up. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Anonymous is still popping up on the Clock app. Don't be scared.
I'm on the Anonymous step up. Anonymous step up and pull a V for Vendetta in some areas, but again, I digress.
Deleting loans or whatever. The video of Dope 47 going to heaven on Elon's feet was funny, but like do something actually like impactful. Got a plane to safely land at this point.
Oh, for those who me and Hellspawn Cosplay and probably a few others did go ahead and decide to throw a monkey wrench in the plans.
Oh yeah. I forgot to write my letter. Damn.
I wrote a nice worded email to the Muskrat in his committee and told him what I did last week, and it's on the book and it's on the IG page. And my wife said, I'm not even a government employee. I just said, like Demetrius said it. He said it. He's like, Viva la resistance. It might not be much, but it's something. It could be a buffer. I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. Let me go ahead and
it's not like we're encouraging everybody to just start mass emailing a server until it dies, because all servers have limits. But it's
I'm not saying take pictures of your cats and food and cats and clothes and dogs and clothes and send it off to them, but I'm telling you to do that. So go ahead.
I would say take every CVS receipt that you've ever had and scan it in an email and send it off.
One way to do it.
The one time
ain't helpful. What? See, you know who taught me how to be petty like that? And it wasn't Kendrick. It was Bugs Bunny. I swear to God.
That was the king of the clapbacks between him and Daffy. Between him, Daffy, Porky, and Elmer, yeah, he was a king of clapbacks. Now I think about it.
Like, just go ahead.
The what is it? The Looney Tunes movie, like a year and a half later next month.
Yeah. So I my wife said, "No, you didn't." She said, "My son was in tears." He's like, "I can't believe Dad did it." Oh, son, the things your father can do.
We're just hey, it's only legal. It's only legal if you get caught.
Motivation goes a long way.
Yeah, I said, "What are you gonna do? What is he gonna do to me?"
I mean, all he's gonna do is take another hit at ketamine. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna say
that. And I believe the substance of choice where he's from. So
yeah. So
yeah.
In other DC news, James Gunn announced that there were going to be several other animated projects. One of them is My Adventures with Green Lantern, and I'm hoping that. Well, before we get into that. One is called My Adventures with Green Lantern. The other one is called Starfire, and the other one is called DC Superpowers.
Right.
So DC Superpowers basically deals with several of the heroes. It's kind of like what they were trying to do with Diggle on Arrow, but it's animated. They're going to take the heroes and put them into like a Avengers Academy-esque type situation, and in the their headmaster is Martian Manhunter.
You know that just reminds me of Arrow all over again. It's like we're gonna tease the ring for several episodes, and then he just decides, nah.
Yeah.
Just thank you, Greg Berlanti.
What you call him, Greg Baloney?
Oh yeah, Greg Baloney. That's what I forgot to call. That's why I was calling him Greg Baloney.
No, but it's dealing with some of the heroes. I think this is going to be geared more towards the younger crowd, of course, the way they described it. Like the younger heroes going to a college that's for superheroes, that's training for superheroes. And
as long as they don't do Generation V, you can do Young Justice and put it in a campus style.
Yeah.
But just don't do Generation V.
Like there was a few of them, and I said, "Oh, okay, that seems cool." And then Starfire seems. I don't know if that's going to tie into Teen Titans Go or anything else, but Starfire, it deals with almost like her origin, almost before she comes to Earth.
It can be. It can be done. I worry about that just because, if memory serves me right, there is a little bit of story you can go from there because of her origin story. I just hope they don't go overboard with it. Because I don't give the Black Adam treatment. That's all I'm saying.
Please don't.
I mean, that's the one thing I'll say. Don't give the Black Adam treatment. You can literally go low key and go another route, but don't give the Black Adam treatment.
Yeah.
So
tell her story. Introduce a lot of the more characters who even travel in space, possibly other Lanterns. They could also adapt. What was it? The wedding arc, I think, from Teen Titans in her story.
Yeah.
The other batch of racist aliens we had to meet in space, and then end it with her ending up on Earth, and then segueing into whatever they do for a Titans project.
So basically, they said it follows her adventures after she uses the ancient spaceship she discovers on her home planet of Tamarin to escape her planet and explore the stars. Along the way, she'll meet space biker Crush. First person I thought of was Lobo. Just first person I thought of. Plant-loving Fern and the magical princess Amethyst of Gem World, and together they'll uncover the deepest reaches of the DC universe, save space dolphins, surf technicolor nebulas, and boldly soar into the unknown. This sounds like a younger crowd. This sounds not exactly Teen Titans Go, but older crowd.
Although to see Lobo, that would be now. Is it gonna? That kind of makes me wonder. If it's gonna be live action, are we gonna get our first look at Jason Momoa as Lobo?
Oh no, this is all animated.
Oh, animated.
And the space biker's name is Crush, but when you hear space biker, I think Lobo.
Who showed up in Titans and Robin Robin broke his arm because he lost in a race or something crazy like that.
He's been in Titans. He's been in the Superman animated series, and he's been in Young Justice.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember there was like a teenage Lobo in that show, and then we got Lobo actually in Young Justice I think the third season.
Third season, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he definitely could. That's why I was like, I'm like, I think they want to maximize Lobo, but at the same time, I think they want to kind of not put him out, not overextend him. But let's be honest, he's probably gonna wind up being like, he's gonna wind up probably being at least once in almost everything.
Right. So the last animated feature that they have or series that they're going to have is called My Adventures with Green Lantern, and this will deal with Jessica Cruz. So Gunn,
nice.
He's spreading the wealth.
Mm-hmm.
He's spreading the wealth, and basically has her life upended. According to the log line, her life is upended when a power ring falls from the sky, chooses Cruz to be its champion. And things get even worse from debris from the Lantern's ancient space war arrives along with their alien foes.
Oh, I like that.
And yes, it is. I just read it is connected to My Adventures with Superman.
See, I'm okay with that. It's a different Green Lantern, kind of one of my favorites after John Stewart, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I like if you've seen My Adventures with Superman, it's more modern. It's a different take on certain things, but it changes it just enough to make it modern, and it's not horrible. And they get the whole thing out of Lois discovering it right away. They get that out the way so quickly.
Was it like episode 2? Episode 2, she fits like and he couldn't say anything. It's like, well, dang, at least y'all didn't wait till y'all didn't waste the whole season letting that one go.
Trey, did you just drop some news? Did you drop a Blerd's Eyeview exclusive?
Oh, yes, he did, sir. Sir, you just ain't gonna really.
Wait, does he have was that part of the rollout?
What, the DC University or the DC Superpowers?
Mr.
Terrific. So so here's the lineup for the DC Superpower show. It follows Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, Aquagirl, and Green Lantern and Terra as they try to level up their powers under their supervision of Principal Martian Manhunter. So I would expect that if they're at a university, and Mr. Terrific would be involved. Olympic level athlete, extremely smart.
Hand to hand. I'm gonna say hand to hand go with Batman. What, number 3 or number 2 smartest person in the universe, in the DC universe?
I think he's 3. 2. Well, yeah, you're right. I think he's he might be 2.
I think he's 2 because I think he's 2. But still,
well, Trey, you know where to call us.
Let me know if you get a fair play jacket.
I hope you get it.
Yeah, so there's that. But James Gunn and Zack Snyder took a picture together during this whole rollout yesterday.
Oh,
but there's no meaning behind it other than to just break the internet.
Just when we thought these Snyder fanboys were going to go away. Just when we thought.
Gunn is throwing out all the curveballs. I'm just like, just sit back and wait. It'll happen. Don't worry.
Because you know those Snyder fanboys are going to be like, see, Gunn sees it. We can bring back the Snyderverse. Let it go. You saw one freaking picture.
At this point, I say let them have the animated universe. Might as well milk the fandom for what it's worth. Also, we keep hitting the reset button like every other film. So,
as of late, yeah.
Now we're down to one solid Earth because the multiverse is a disease, according to Crisis.
Yeah. That I want to, whoever wrote that's the one that needs to be fired. Whoever wrote that idea, the multiverse is disease.
I was okay with the idea. It was watching them nuke every other property, like basically saying goodbye to this forever. I was okay with basically, hey, the solution is merge everyone into like one prime version of themselves.
Yeah.
My question who's just like, no. I'm just gonna stay here and go with the ether because I reject this on logic's sake.
Look, the way we seen certain characters from certain series go ghost. And I'm just like, oh man. And like, I mean, I think the only one which was actually a very fitting and good send-off was Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill's face off.
Yeah.
As Batman and Joker. And I'm like, they went down fighting, and this was the last we got to see and hear Kevin Conroy. And I'm okay with that. It was just like, I wouldn't have it no other way. Yeah. I wouldn't have it no other way.
Especially after Hamill sat there and said, he really personified this. Without Conroy, he's not voicing Joker anymore. He's like,
he literally said that. He said, without my brother, it wouldn't feel the same. I'm out.
I just want to go back to that Joker line. Without Batman, crime has no punchline, and just walks off. I just immediately see this, like, crime has no punchline and walks off. Just
like in a dramatic fashion.
Even at the end of Arkham Knight, when he basically admits that Batman doesn't need him, he needs Batman.
Yeah, so
that was a cold line.
Yeah, that series was it's different. It made me want to go back and read the actual series again because it just read a little. It just, the series itself reads different than the animated feature, and we get that. We understand not everything crosses over mediums that well or differently in whatever faction, but I don't know. It was just, I was glad Jensen Ackles is voicing Batman because y'all been shafting him for the longest time when he's been one like, give me Red Hood. I voiced Red Hood. Give me Red Hood live action. We've been championing for this dude to play Red Hood. And
even cosplayed. Even his own cosplay was on point. Just
it had the same cosplay that was in an episode of Supernatural. But I digress. So they yeah, you're right. Yeah, they did, Batman. They killed off the Teen Titans universe. They bumped off everything, and I said, now this seems like a cop out. This just
told me it was a bunch of pure planets we never heard of, and it's like, okay, the solution, everybody has to just join a merged version of their self from every world. Fine. They had to add in us like killing off the worlds we knew. That was the part that I'm like, this, you didn't need to do all that.
No,
right.
I thought they were gonna do something like, and they set everything back right. I'm like, yeah, okay, because the multiverse always exists. So
that was the whole lure of it, and then yet they wanted to kill it
for some reason. It's Constantine every time, which means you can do a second film.
Yes, I'm like, even the Super Friends, exactly. I'm like, this actually sucks. You're supposed to fade them out, and then they kind of revert, and they're all brought back,
right?
And they cross over from time to time, thanks to Barry. But
we can't even get the narrator voice we used to get. Just meanwhile in the Hall of Justice, we can't even get that anymore.
You complete me. I mean, there you go, Mal. There you go. So that Crisis on Infinite Earths, the animated series or movies, they just a little different, and they're kind of actually, it was kind of boring.
Yeah, thank you, Trey. Lazy writing, indeed.
The middle portion was very much like just tank movie, girl blasting homie because why? I didn't understand that at all. And then, I mean, they said in the first film, we're gathering all the smart people from each world. Everyone else can kind of just good luck. But it was very much Crisis the think tank.
You know what? I'm trying to remember if they showed Captain Carrot in there. Because it wasn't like...
that's a good question.
Don't make me go back and watch it now. I don't want to go back and scan through it.
I want to say they did, but I'm not 100% sure.
If they did, it wasn't like a speaking role. It was more like a visual. Visual. So, in Star Wars news, Kathleen Kennedy may or may not be leaving the Star Wars franchise.
Oh, just leave. Just leave.
You know how many times this has happened? She was supposed to leave last year. She didn't.
And she didn't.
She was supposed to leave when they right before. I think it was right after they did episode 9.
Yep.
She did.
She still did.
Now the news came out today. Oh, she'll be leaving at the end of this year. And then just a couple hours ago, it's come out to say that, oh, she's not. I'm like, just don't even report it anymore. How's that?
Because you just go ahead, Spar.
The one that South Park made fun of for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, into the Panderverse.
I'm like, I don't have anything against her. It's just, it's not her per se, at least for me personally. People have a lot of problems with 7, 8, and 9. I don't have a problem with 7, 8, and 9 as in they're horrible. I have a problem with 7, 8, and 9 as the story doesn't flow like it should have.
Right.
You went from Finn being the focus. Should have stayed the focus. I have no problem with Ray and Poe being that intimate. You changed directors in episode 8, and that went completely off the rails. And you brought J.J. Abrams back for 9, and it was just like, well, the damage is done. I have to complete this thing.
I mean, really, the damage was done when you sat there and tricked us about Finn. That's what I mean. I will never let that go. You sat there
building it up, and they were building it up in 7.
Yeah.
And I think we would have got a culmination of it in 8, and then 9 would have finished it off. Because Poe with Finn, Poe, and Ray, it was perfect.
Yeah,
that was
perfect. But you teased a black Jedi, especially with the promo pics. Like the promo pics were perfect. It's like, oh crap, we actually might get the tellings of a black Jedi. And of course in 7, what happened the entire time? Finn kept on getting teased a lightsaber. I need a weapon. You got one in your hand, dude. And then at the end of it all, you did the rope-a-dope. Y'all sat there and turned Finn from a main character into an NPC that we still care about.
And you had it. I don't know why they didn't fix that in 8. They played it. They gave him stuff to do in 8, but not the stuff we felt he should have been doing.
Right. You basically set up Ray. The greatest in service was Ray could have still been a Jedi, but also Finn could have been as well. And both of them could have trained with Luke. And Luke would have been sitting there the entire time trying to figure out one versus the other, like, why is he in tune with? Why are you force sensitive? How do you know all this? And of course, there's your dynamic. You have 2 different sets of Jedi, and you could have told a different story. You really could have.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Kylo Ren, yes, you can have his turn near the end, but that forced scene, that's how I looked at it. That was a forced scene.
But what if Kylo actually turns to the light and Rey went and like Lainey said, Rey could win dark side? That would have been the switch.
Like that. Let that be the dynamic too, right?
Yeah.
Let that be the dynamic. Like something happens that she's realizing things or she's feeling a certain type of way, and those dynamics change. And now, by the time you get to 9, it's almost like Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. And
you would have had that. You would have been like, this is the thing going forward. Now Kylo has to go in and earn his trust with the rebellion,
right?
Try to save Rey. Finn becomes a Jedi in training. There.
That would have been freaking perfect. And then I'll even go one farther. That would have been, see, that's why, like we talked about a long time ago, that would have been a perfect time for Mace Windu to show up as Luke was saying, I sensed another Jedi, but I didn't believe it to be true. And you just see Mace Windu just come out of nowhere and just not even come out of nowhere. That would have been a perfect end to episode. It would have been a perfect end to episode 8. Because you can literally see Luke going, I sense the presence of another Jedi, but I can't tell if it's real or not. And all you hear is his voice. It is real, Luke. And he just turns around, fade to black.
Yeah.
You would have had everybody hyped for episode 9.
That would have done it. Your 9 and then going forward would have been like perfect. Let's lock it in.
Right.
That would have been it. So I don't know. That's
like, I feel like, what was it? Because 7 was great because, I mean, Finn's face is the first thing you see in the trailer. They cut to the desert and him like distraught. And okay, this is dope. He held out for somebody who was just an amateur stormtrooper and basically a child soldier. Held out longer against the grandchild of a Sith Lord longer than I expected. I expect you to be in a coma the entire second film though. That was. I'm like, how is he going to wake up this film like at all? They told him don't move for like.
Yep, it's like Lady said, fell to the dark side. Could go on.
Yeah,
and you're right. Basement virgins would have hated it.
They would have hated it, but at the same time, it would have been such perfect. A child of the Force seduced by the dark side. And old boy would have had his perfect pupil. He would have had a perfect pupil. He struggled with Kylo Ren, but he would have been perfect with Rey because Rey was basically she was untainted.
Yeah.
And he could have sat there and well, yeah, I'm right. I know. But
like
I'm just
Trey,
saying.
And like Trey said, like Trey saying, he finally got to see Chewie go off. Till this day, that is the most heart-wrenching scream.
Man.
To lose his friends, basically his brother. To lose his brother and his basically sister-in-law.
Yeah.
During this whole thing. When he found out about Leia.
Oh, he snapped.
I felt that. I was in the theater. I'm like, damn, never thought I'd see that.
I felt like the space chase with Leia went on way too long, along with Finn being on the other planet side quest. It felt like
you mean the casino scene?
Yeah,
right.
Why was that? It was like Lost Clone Wars arcs, and they're just like, work it into the film. Give them something to do.
Yeah,
like,
throw it at a dartboard and see if it sticks.
Yeah. 7 was like, hey, the number 1 grossing film in a movie in film history is a black man and a female lead, and they're like, well, that's enough of that. So
yeah, right. But that's the thing I never understood. That's why I was saying it's like Star Wars wasn't bad. It's just that the direction you went, it could have. I mean, you could have introduced old characters as well as given us new characters for a new generation. Because I was telling somebody else, the Star Wars that you see in episodes 7, 8, 9 may not appeal to those that were there from episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. It may not appeal to you just because it's attracting a new generation. That being said, the new generation deserves a better story.
Yeah, some of the fan edits I've seen are better than what we got. Like at the last face-off in 9, somebody CGI'd in all the Force ghosts from like other scrap footage from other movies, which I'm like, that's
perfect
product versus all the voices, especially because Palpatine did screw over all these people.
Yeah. Not only that, but we got Leia as training and as a Jedi. There were scenes we were just like, oh, that would have been great to see more of that.
Would have been funny as I'll get out to see Darth Plagueis the Wise just roll up on old boy.
They were so close with the Acolyte. They were so close, but we all said it. Acolyte had the makings to be great, but it was such a slow burn that it was like slow burns. It was 8 episodes,
and it never picked up speed. I'm sorry, go to farm.
8 episodes, and we figured out the pacing by the 3rd one. It's gonna be current flashback, current flashback, current flashback, and it just a lot of stuff we got. It did not need to take that long to get there. Episode 5 was a nice middle point, and then we went back. The pacing picked up so much with the action, and then we went right all the way back over here.
I'm still trying to figure out how do you have great fight scenes that don't use Force powers and yet still attach it to a slow burn story.
And the fight scenes were great. The ending was actually really good because you had the sisters switch, just like we described. between Kylo Ren and Rey. They switched sides. I was like, that was great. I'm like, but your pacing was so erratic. Like you had everything else was fitting in place. Everything.
There was no constant. None. I mean, you could have told about the Sacred Sisters. You could have sat there and said about the whole time the Jedi were holding a dark, one Jedi was holding a dark secret. You could have expanded on this. And I'm like, but it's almost like an unwritten rule, like you can't say the Jedi are infallible. Like they cannot be seen, the Jedi cannot be seen dirty. That's the thing I can't get.
That right there, that comment right there. There should be a rule. You cannot write for a franchise if you are not a fan of the franchise. You have got to know what you are talking about. This is whether it's a superhero film, a Mission Impossible film, a Star Wars film, a Star Wars universe film. You need to know, at least have an abridged version of what you're talking about before you even remotely, I'm going to tell my own story. It's fine if you tell your own story, just know the basics of what you're talking about. Don't try to just say, I'm going to tell this story. Acolyte is a perfect example of you telling your own story, but bad pacing.
Yeah.
Because once again, you just had Jedis involved that you may not have heard of, that didn't involve our core crew of the Skywalkers and the Solos and Chewie. It would have worked. It would have worked. Rogue One, perfect example. It tied into it, but it was its own thing.
And you had characters that stood out that were just their own. You had Donnie Yen's character will always stick out with me, but then again, that's like what you ask 10 different people what they remember from Rogue One. They might remember Donnie Yen's scene. They might remember old girl scene. They might remember the iconic scene of Darth Vader just tearing through everybody with the cloud of smoke behind it. You get 10 different answers, but that just goes to show you how good of a movie it was. Like everybody picks their spot from there.
Perfect example. That's why Bond worked for 50 years. They took from the books and had folks who were vested in Bond culture. It's not that hard.
Also, you made sure you had a kick-ass car though. Q had the devices, but Aston Martin's that's where my love for Aston Martin's come from. Freaking Bond movies. That's why I love them so much.
Movies and games, but speaking of games, Star Killer is still something they could use because they put like old armors in I think in the first season of Andor. I haven't watched it, but people pointed out the Sith Stalker armor is like in the background of one of the rooms. So
you could
but like he gave you the combat you kind of wanted from a Star Wars or modern day Star Wars show with a modern CGI prop. Like this man was trying to turn Luke and sucker punched him in the stomach, took his arm, threw him into the flight path of a plane just so it would bounce back and he could punch him again.
Yeah. But you could have had Star Killer. You could have actually had Star Killer in the Star Wars universe. You could have had the Knights of Kylo Ren in the Star Wars universe. There's so many ways they could have done this, and it's just like, how is it that you have an almost unlimited budget on characters that from the books you could introduce into the modern cinematic universe, and you don't? I will never understand that, because especially Star Killer going after Vader, that alone is a movie in itself.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but again,
I mean,
I digress.
Speaking of telling your own story, was making sure you know what you're talking about. Andor season 2. We got the trailer. We're going to check it out.
All right.
And here we go.
We're in a war. You want to fight? Or you want to win? Last night I had a dream that the world had turned around. All our hopes had come to be. The revolution starts now.
swell party this is.
Remember this moment. You're here, you're right here, and you're ready to fight.
Nice.
That's a perfect example of knowing your background of just Star Wars lore and running with it. Because even when the first season came out, I'm like, why are they giving us Andor? And we know what's gonna happen. Oh, wait a minute. It's a slow burn,
but it's a faster pace.
Yes.
Was that Forrest back as Saul Guerrero?
Yes.
Yep.
It's Saul Guerrero.
This is the obviously this is going to lead into Rogue One because this is going to be a final season. Can't just keep going. Like you gotta end it. So you see Ben Mendelsohn and his character, and you see the Death Star in there, and it even answered one of the questions I had about K2SO showing up, and I'm like, oh, there he is. Okay, never mind.
Yep. So this is basically the season. I won't call it the beginning of the end, but it's the part where it shapes up before pre-episode 1.
Yeah. But see, and this is I think where the franchises shine right now. A lot of prequels look good. Like Andor looks good. Rogue One looks good, despite what some people think. Obi-Wan wasn't even bad.
Obi-Wan was nice. I liked Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it was perfect to me.
Yeah.
Especially the fight between him and Anakin. That was, if that wasn't cinema, I don't know what is.
Not only that, the fact that they said, "Oh, we get to train again."
Right. It looked like they ain't missed a step.
They got to train again. Got back to hear Ewan McGregor say, "Christian does this move." That's his move. That's his move. He's like, I can't. He's like, he came up with that move and he just rolled with it. And I'm like, yes. So that's a prime example.
Yeah, that you can do a prequel and it can hit if you give it the time. And with Star Wars, there's plenty of story there. There's plenty of story. You just have to right, sir. You gotta take your time with it.
If it's like before a known property, they have an endpoint. It's just that you're allowed to have more fun getting there. Just make sure it can fit within the canon, even though we've had to redo it like 15 different times.
Right.
If you take the lore of the old 3 series, they have that fall.
Yeah. Like, please give us our Mace Windu story. Please. Sam Jackson wants the damn Mace Windu story. Right. I was like, he wants it. Like, just give us the story. We know he doesn't live long. Just give us the story.
But we know he's still alive, though.
Yeah.
Never saw a body.
I don't know. Like when you have series like The Mandalorian, Boba Fett could have been better. I think they Boba Fett started off strong and then fell apart. Like they couldn't keep up the pace with Boba Fett, and that's when they brought the Mandalorian in, and it became Mandalorian 2.5, season 2.5. So.
Good way to bring Mando in, because we ended season 2 with certain people who are not going to be in that show anymore on screen and on a cliffhanger. So it gave us a nice way to segue out of that without addressing the elephant in the room and all.
Yeah, because it definitely started getting. I'm not going to lie, the Boba Fett series did start getting boring. I'm like, wait, what are y'all going to do with this?
I didn't think we were going to spend so much time on Tatooine. I thought we'd be like going out elsewhere or going across the galaxy to recover his armor. Instead, it was just scattered like the Dragon Balls on the same planet. And then I guess that apparently it's all going to tie together in what is it? The Mandalorian and Grogu is the name of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a feature film. That's actually going to be a film. They're going to wrap it up, and then that might be it for that.
So is Esposito's character still out there?
He's still out there. He's still out there. He's not dead or he's still out there. And by the way, Esposito is getting into all the fandoms. He said, "I want it all."
I'm curious between him and who else can make an appearance for this season, because I saw Forrest, I saw the robot. I still need to finish watching the first season, but I can tell they may tie in a bunch of other stories. I know Mando tied in like the main story from Battlefront 2, like the remake a couple years ago.
Yeah, I thought so too. And here we are. This is a prime example of how you tell a prequel story without bogging it down. You don't, and fans who've come up, like Gen Xers who've come up, like myself, who've come up with the series, it's like we'll say it. We love the Skywalker clan, but there are other stories. Tell us those other stories, please. We don't care if you create new characters. We don't care if you use existing characters that you don't hear much about. This is why Rebels and Bad Batch were so well.
Yeah, they were different. They were different ways of telling stories. Very different.
Like, when you tell your own story, just know the basics of what you're talking about. Just don't pull stuff out of the air and piece things together, and you don't know the basics.
Right.
It's all about pacing. It's all about telling the right story. You can do that. Rogue One, I never thought I would see a prequel to Rogue One. I never thought I would see Andor and say, I don't need this, and turn out and be like, actually, this ain't bad.
Yeah. Just to see the entire, not just a planet, but an entire colony. Thank you. Just to see the entire colony system rise up. That's something to watch. That's what I was like.
Skeleton Crew. Crew is a great example.
Yep.
Kept us guessing.
I'm not gonna lie, and I said before, I said it again. If it wasn't for those series, I would have never went back and watched the Clone Wars. I would have never went back and watched the Clone Wars and been like, holy crap, I missed a lot between the Clone Wars and Rebels. I missed a lot. But it did make me want to go back and go watch them again just to fill in the missing blanks. So if anything, good stories will always have you go back to see previous material and be like, oh. But then again, like we said, where do they pull it from? Known sources, as long as it's done with a good story. So it makes sense.
I think telling stories like the Clone Wars and Bad Batch, and just telling you stuff, the chapters that's in between, like the quote unquote side quests. I think those work great, because while the main characters that are off doing whatever, what happened over here? Or what happened over here? Or what happened during this, when this battle happened over here? What was going on this other planet? If this happened, you know what I mean? Those types of stories work so well, and we don't get a lot of that. Exactly. It's more to the Skywalker clan and Jedis and Sith. Universe. That's why I was raving so much about Skeleton Crew. I'm like, you're talking about kids dealing with pirates, because they're out there, and it can be a one and done season. I don't care, but it works. What's happening to All Nerd Entertainment?
Especially what they've done so far, because the whole time with Jude Law's character, you're sitting there wondering, okay, what is he? I mean, he seems to be Force sensitive, but he's not a Jedi. Of course, he doesn't say that he is, but yet he's handy with a lightsaber. I think there's more to that. That's the crazy part about all of it is there's more to it than what they're wanting to hold on. I mean, to what they're wanting to say, but that just means it's a good story. You're going back to watch what is actually going on. At the same time, again, it's a different part of the Star Wars universe that you can explore, that you can bring in other characters, you can make it entertaining. That's the big three. Entertain, as long as you have a good story, good act, the actors have to be on point, but let's be honest. When have you ever seen a bad acting role in Star Wars? I mean, anybody. I can't name a bad acting role.
Yeah, there hasn't been any bad acting except for that one stormtrooper who hits his head on the door, and that's in the originals. And there's so much going on in that scene, you don't even miss it.
Right.
You don't even see it. It's not till somebody points out. You're just like, oh, he did hit his head on the hatch, on the door hatch. So,
I still laugh about the Force Awakens when the two stormtroopers come around the corner and Kylo Ren's wrecking stuff, and that's the one time you see two stormtroopers have a black moment. Like, nah, bro.
That was those films didn't take themselves too seriously. It's just we felt like we ran out of stuff for other people to do, or didn't want them to be the focus of the film. That's
pretty much.
How far removed are we from Rogue One with like the end of season 1 of Andor?
Season 2 is season 1 is kind of the origin, because Cassian he's not even, when it starts out, he's not even considered a rebel. He's not even really. He kind of grows into that role. He kind of grows into that role, and then by the season 2, he's like, all right, I know where I need to be. I know what I need to do.
Yeah, because I think two is a bit of a time skip, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it? Or am I thinking 3?
It's a bit of a time skip, but it's enough of a time. If it is a time skip, it's enough of it that you don't miss much, because it's been 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But still, the whole thing about him, again, that's the part I love. At first, he started out, he wasn't sure of himself, but now, you want to talk a whole different person. That's why, I mean, that part, and then again, everything else that happened. Again, I want to spoil for everybody that hasn't seen the first season. You still got time, because I don't think season 2 has came out quite yet, so you still got time. And I think first season was 8 episodes. 8 or 6?
No, I think it's first season. I want to say it's 10. It might be 10.
So you still got time if you haven't seen the season.
Because it's not till April 22nd. It's not all practically the end of April, so you still got time.
I'll check it out.
I would say just to get caught up on it, because I mean, between that and let's see, everything else coming out in April. May and April finna be some 2 busy ass months.
Good
outside of March. March is basically. I tell everybody, look, March is basically Daredevil. March is basically Daredevil at this point. If I was planning anything in March, I would push that back by at least several weeks.
They just what's going on in March? Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Daredevil.
That's it.
Nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm. So, I forgot about Last of Us, but Last of Us is placed. Yeah, thank you, Lane. Last of Us is placed your bets.
I keep they gotta get better with the role. I keep forgetting Last of Us. I've seen promo images. I keep forgetting Last of Us is coming.
And that was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about almost a month ago when they actually did do a trailer for it. Supposedly there's supposed to be another one coming, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Although I'm like, look, when is Joel gonna bite the bullet? Literally, because either you're gonna do it at the beginning of the season or you're gonna do it at the end. But I'm gonna be honest, if you do it at the end, you're gonna take off a lot of people.
They said they're gonna split it, I think, into 3 seasons. So I can already tell. I see Joel making it to the first 2 episodes. We're probably gonna open up on the ending of the first game. Season 2 is Ellie's story. Season 3, Abby's story. Season 4 is Santa Barbara or Santa Monica, wherever that unnecessary ass fight happened.
To be honest, Abby's story is way short. If you really think about it, her story runs along old girls, so it's kind of parallel.
It is,
except for that one moment.
It is. We know what's happening this time versus when the game came out.
Oh, that game took a lot. That game, those first 30 minutes ticked a lot of people off. 30 minutes of the game.
Man.
The game was played beautifully. It's just there was a whole lot of stuff. Was like you could have just told us this up front. We might have been upset about it, but the fact that
I will give Naughty Dog. I will give Naughty Dog credit for that. That's a way that had to be the biggest secret to keep under wraps. That look, above all else, no one can know the first 30 minutes of what happens in this game.
Look, I just found out in Daredevil, like first episode, something happens and you're not gonna like it. And I'm like, well, that's a great lead in. Thank you very much. And we were already tuned in anyway.
It's like Walking Dead, except a different show. It's like, okay, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe on this roster.
What in the world?
Andor leading the road one where we know nobody makes it, but we still like it. Y'all could have just. It was the fact that somebody on the staff leaked it because like you're gonna piss people off if you keep putting this man in the trailers like Chris Brown and you got served and and then tell them there's a whole second character they're playing at or third character they get to play as. Maybe be a little straight up, and the internal disputes became external like every other property we were a fan of. This on the other hand, we know everyone dies. We're just here. We're just curious to see how we get there.
Right.
I can't say anything. I haven't been this mad since I realized one of my favorite video games wasn't getting a sequel, and then 5 years later it gets a remaster. So that goes long to tell you. I'm just saying. I'm still mad at you. Days Gone. We should have a sequel to that game.
Jesus.
Motorcycle zombies.
We are going to go take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the evolution of black superheroes from the shadows to the mainstream. There's a lot. For some people who don't know and can't name past certain ones, trust me, we got you covered. We'll be right back. Blerd's Eyeview is a proud affiliate of Otaku Noir. Use the code Blerd's Eyeview for 10% off on all items. With a different nerd-themed box filled with items made by talented blerds across the country, you surely will not be disappointed. Go to otakunoir.com. Otaku Noir, the #1 Blerd mystery box company. And Otaku Noir will be at BlerdCon 2025 going down in 2 weeks. As well as Blerd Station. Yes, Blerd Station, New Black Hollywood. Yes, we will be there in attendance doing another live stream for BlerdCon 2025. You want to tune in. If you can't tune in, if you can't be there, you can go to the Blerd. You can go to blerdstation.com, hit the live stream tab. You will watch it from last year and you can watch it this year. But if you are there, be sure to track us down. Unfortunately, yours truly would not be there due to obligations. That 6-month turnaround for them is a mother, but whatever. Yeah. So we are going to be talking about the evolution of black superheroes, and people always name Storm, Black Panther, Black Lightning, Falcon, or John Stewart, or Captain America, Sam Wilson. The ones we know that's already in the mainstream, all right? What a lot of people don't know is there are tons of other heroes. Tons. Lion Man is one of them. 1947. First African superhero appearing in all Negro comics, #1. Shout out to Deron Flood. He actually has all Negro comics, and I think it is #1. He is a connoisseur. He runs Atlantic Comic-Con. You want to check that out? That comes up, I think, in August, if I'm not mistaken. But Lion Man, and I believe Lion Man was the precursor to Black Panther. Yeah. So that was a character. Of course, you have Black Panther, who was 1966, first appearance in Marvel first appearance in the Marvel universe in Fantastic Four issue number 52, which I proudly own.
Lucky duck.
Shout out to Carolyn Johns Comics. They are the ones that hooked me up on that one. Somebody brought books in, and that was one of them. I said, "You fools, you did not know." And it turns out they had a treasure trove. I'm like, "Oh, y'all really didn't know." They had some Spider-Man stuff, some X-Men, some Avengers stuff, and like people were finishing off collections out of this box. So
and they're sitting on gold mines.
I'm like, you didn't know what to do with this? Oh my! The Falcon, who first premiered in 1969, was also the first black superhero in mainstream comics without black in his name. There's John Stewart. It was the first black Green Lantern, and probably the most human. When I say the most humanity, I should say.
I still have the issue of where he's dragging Kyle Rayner. Still have the issue where he's dragging him.
That run of John Stewart, his story is so. Actually, all the human Green Lanterns have some really intense stories. Hal Jordan has great stories with Green Arrow when they're on the road. Like you're talking about lessons being learned. But John Stewart was a major step in the superhero diversity range, and you definitely want to check out some of his stuff. Look at that, yeah. There you go. Thank you, Mal.
I was gonna say that especially with the Emerald Knight before the Emerald Knight status, that was still a good run.
Luke Cage, first black superhero to lead his own comic series, which was in 1972. Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. I have that whole compendium. It's funny because there's a scene where there's a panel in there because Luke is somebody always comes to the theater. He stays above the theater. That's where his apartment is. Somebody always comes to find him for trouble. Like people come to him to solve problems. Bad guys come to him to tear up his shit. And it consistently happens. And he's tired of getting his silk yellow shirts torn up. It's the 70s, people. Don't ask me. and so he goes, there's a local tailor, and in the scene, while he's talking to the tailor, there's another person that the tailor is attending to, and he says, "Oh, yes, your purple pants are ready. They're here, Mr. Banner." You don't even see Bruce's face. You just see him in a trench coat and from the back. And I'm just like, oh, we're doing crossovers without Luke actually knowing about Bruce Banner. And also that's the same opinion where Dr. Doom hires Luke to take up the and he pays him. It was the 70s. He paid him $200 to take out the Fantastic Four. And he fights them only to find out, oh no, these are the good guys. And what pisses him off even more is Doom never paid me my money.
So what does he do?
He catches a flight over to Latveria, busts down the door to Castle Doom, and says, "Sucker, where's my $200?" I shit you not. That's
and this is why I learned from Luke Cage, whether it's $1 or $100, get your money, get your money.
I wish they would have worked some kind of Heroes for Hire plot, or I hope they do into whatever they do with Daredevil. Still trying to figure out how a nightclub survives a 5-year gap of people not probably going to the club. Real clubs barely survive COVID. How did y'all survive the blip?
That'd been a perfect time. You know what? I thought about that. I would have said one of the service society would have took over during the blip. You could have had Giancarlo Esposito's character actually running Harlem in the 5 years, because that would line up. It would line up with Brave New World. It would line up that the Service Society is still around. He would have had beef after Luke Cage took out Diamondback and then Bushwhacker. So it would have added up to see that the guy that's running it is also the same guy that can run a chicken store. I just don't want to see Hermanos Potos Locos.
Yeah.
What's my thing? I feel like Cottonmouth. I feel like Cottonmouth was way more popular than expected, and there's just no way of bringing him back. killed that role. But yeah, Diamondback and Bushmaster. I'm surprised we haven't seen them anywhere else, especially since we travel so much in the MCU. And now that we're going to be in this apparent arms race, I would be curious to see them come back.
Right.
Bushwhacker should definitely come back because the old boy has definitely killed that role. At the same time, it still goes back to the whole thing. Like they can start and say that they're trying to work out the Defenders. Let's be honest. That I was saying this beforehand, every one of those people, their socials have went radio silent.
Yep.
Ever since they've been radio silent. So again, we know the Defenders are going to come back at some point, just because you're banking a lot on Born Again. At the same time, Luke Cage deserves a better ending than what we got in season 2.
Yeah. If you like the channel, if you like what you're listening, if you love the conversation, please hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You find out when we go live. You find out when we do our interviews. You find out when we do our reviews, our reactions, and so much more. Patreon will be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. So hit that like button, spread the word, tell your friends to tell a friend to tell another friend, and tell us to come check us out. You can also check us out on blerdseyeview.org for the website, where there are more articles being written, whether it's wrestling, movie reviews, television reviews, character breakdowns, and probably going to be some comic book moment breakdowns or comic book story arcs breakdowns. So thank you. You can check us live Tuesdays and Thursdays, Monday, and you get the clips Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So go check us out. Hit that like button. Back to our Black superhero discussion. We have people. 1975 is the first time we get Storm, first Black superhero in a major comic, later becoming the leader of the X-Men, later becoming a goddess, later becoming the queen of Wakanda, later becoming just an all-around badass.
And then this one's gonna have a name longer than Queen of Dragons at this rate. I'm just saying.
You have Cyborg, who was introduced in 1980. Trust me when I say you don't want to. Well, I might have it loaded. I don't know. No, I don't.
The original design for Cyborg.
The original design for Cyborg. Okay, so let's get this straight. It was the 80s. All right. There were questionable things. There were questionable things in the 80s. Tyrock is a prime example of another brother who had a questionable outfit.
I'm sorry. It was the 80s, right? So movie-wise, robot cyborgs did look a little different. Again, it was special effects in Hollywood. You're gonna sit there and tell me for all the Hollywood designs, that's what we come up with for Cyborg at his first outing? I'm just the man had on something that just would have made a lot of people just go, no, y'all could have. I mean, you gave Luke Cage a Silk Circuit bell bottoms. This man had literally unlimited cyber warfare to where he could change everything on his body, and we give him napkins.
I decided to go with a different version of what he was wearing, but yeah, no pants. No pants.
Pants is right. My lack of pants.
Can't be worse than these Super Pets when they gave him the half row.
I hated that.
Who thought that was a good idea?
I said, you mean to tell me this man is walking with a half shell of a human skull, and the other half he just let his afro just grow out? Like, I know.
Again, who was the guy that drew it, and who was the person that approved? Because I've been like, so he can't have he just can't have a full on afro, and then the rest, and then half face from there. I mean, at least give the boy some style.
As Trey Mosley says, cyber draws.
Cyber draws is right, because
my God,
your hot pants. That is if Hot Pants and Daisy Dukes had children.
I figured Robin was running around in his skivvies. Well, he was okay. I don't know.
Yeah. He was rocking around in skimmies and shoes of the Robin Hood variety.
Look. what's going on, Whoopty? Hell, Beast Boy looking at everybody else like I am the only one that is fully dressed here.
Right.
Everybody got their thighs out. What is going on in this room?
As he's doing to ask questions like this is what y'all do to us. This is. I'm like, this is why I was so glad for. I'm sorry, I'm gonna skip down the road. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
In 1975, we were also introduced to Misty Knight. Misty Knight is one of the baddest ass black females in Marvel Comics who has a cybernetic arm thanks to Stark Industries. And we were also introduced to her in Luke Cage, and we still are waiting for Daughters of the Dragon. I'm just saying.
Got a hit, although again with Misty Knight, kind of hard to find a draw you don't disagree with.
That's another character I'm hoping makes a comeback with all the ground level stuff that has happened since Homecoming after the Netflix series had their run. Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen the super cop with the cybernetic arm make a comeback yet.
That part.
Blade and Brother Voodoo didn't look any better in the 70s. This is true.
Brother Voodoo was like Jimi Hendrix. He fell through a meat grinder.
That and Blade, boy, it was the 70s. Blade had on green pants and a brown leather coat.
He looked like an extra off of Black Dynamite.
My brother Navy's in the building. What's up, Navy?
Reverend.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
Hey.
We are talking about the evolution of black superheroes. And who just mentioned that? Was that Mal? That was Mal. He mentioned Blade and Brother Voodoo didn't look any better in the 70s, and no. They did. Like a lot of our black characters outside of Storm, outside of Storm, and maybe Misty.
Like I said, there seems to be this unwritten rule in comic book world: when you have black female superheroes, they better look good, or we will come for you.
Yes,
that's a fact.
But the brothers, y'all need some fashion sense. It was no fashion.
It seems to be open season on the brothers, but the sisters were protected, so you can't. It's just like real.
It was required.
Say what? Wait, I'm sorry, Nate.
It was required to have a butterfly collar, and you're supposed to see about 60% of your chest. Most of the costumes. Why?
This is why I thought it was absolutely hilarious during the Luke Cage Netflix series when he's trying to find something to wear, and he's got the headpiece, but it's from the machine that gave him his abilities, and but it looked like a tiara when he broke out, and he had on this god ugly shirt and jeans, and the first thing he says is, "Oh hell no!" He said, "Oh, hell." I'm so glad he just goes regular street gear now.
I mean, all he needs, I was like, everybody's like, oh, but it's a hoodie and jeans. You don't remember his origin. If you've never seen his origin, then you'll understand why we're thankful for the Carhartt hoodie and jeans.
That part.
It's very easy to replace a hoodie and jeans. It's so much easier than
but see, if the hoodie has bullet holes, that adds character.
Trey.
Unless your name is Aubrey, then it doesn't count.
Wow!
Literally what I was
Whoopty looked it up. She said there's a Google search for Blade Brother Voodoo in this having.
Hey everybody!
Yeah,
what's going on, folks?
Oh man, exactly. He had that Gordon Gartrell on.
Not the Gordon Gartrell shirt.
It was Gordon Gartrell before Gordon Gartrell was Gordon Gartrell.
That's where Neil Huxtable got that idea from. He was like, it worked for Luke, it worked for me. And then you got the famous Gordon Gartrell.
That might explain why I'm not doing the Cosby Show. It might explain a lot.
Yeah. We have other heroes that started going over like Static Shock. And everybody that's in the Milestone universe, Icon, Rocket. You name it, hardware.
The Blood Syndicate, the Shadow Cabinet,
all of them. You talking about black? It was, it was time.
You can look at Blood Syndicate and them by themselves as a cornucopia of melanation on all levels.
Although I was kind of mad at Hardware's first design though, because you gave the boy hot pants. You gave the boy technological hot pants, and then it's like, okay, next issue, that was a bad idea. Let's go on the full on combat pants. Thank you.
I don't know. I liked his first iteration because he even if it looked all piecemeal, which I still thought was genius. The look on his face when he's holding that blade, it's like, nigga, excuse me.
Black Lightning did have like the original guard too. He had that daggone I hated the way they did him in the Super Friends cartoon.
You mean Black Vulcan?
Black Vulcan. They call it Black Vulcan. And I'm like, why they got the brother in the daggone unitard? Like, what's up with the onesie thing?
It was a light.
He got the outfit that button up underneath.
It always made me mad about Black Lightning because you try to do the Superman thing with him. Like, wait a minute. So his hair doesn't change. You give him a visor. You give him an outfit. Once he's out of all this, it's like we're doing the Superman thing again, where apparently if you put on glasses, nobody sees it coming. You can't put nobody's looking at the newspaper. They're looking at him and going, "Hey!" I was like, it always annoyed me that Black Lightning kind of had that same persona. Although I love this, again, one of my favorite characters. I literally have a freaking
much better look now. Yeah.
We'll never, still surprised that Warner Bros. Got away with adult jokes with Black Lightning and old girl with live wire.
Let's face it. It seems like Gordon Gartrell was the go-to look for a lot of the brothers in the 70s. So
again, I say no comment.
That is fair.
Cut of their time.
So, but now that's just comics. We haven't even touched on Mr. Terrific and tons of the other ones. Oh yeah, yes. Martha Washington Goes to War. Yes, yes. That's a great series to check out. That was like the 80s and 90s, man. There was a time, and you can really get some really good thought-provoking comics.
Oh, you can get away with a lot of red tape.
Yeah,
you can get away with a lot.
Now, when we talk about the evolution of the black superhero over in film and television, Meteor Man, who does not get enough recognition at all, and I can't go any further without saying this one. Mantis.
Yes.
My man. Season 1 was everything. Season
Carl
2.
Lumley. I was introduced to Carl Lumley through Mantis. And I'm not going to hold you. That suit was badass.
Yeah. That
season 1 was everything. Season 2 was potato salad with raisins. It was coated in whiteness.
I'll just say this. Invisible T-Rex. I'm just walking away. But imagine as a kid watching that show and thinking to myself, what the hell happened to this? This is an invisible T-Rex? That don't even make sense.
But it is terrifying. Terrifying as all get out. No, man. Mantis was cool. With just the second season is just like which I feel like we got to explain that. A lot of stuff was happening around the time of that to where certain
it really wasn't 2 seasons. It was really one that they had split up,
right? Because
of what you're getting ready to say, like all the stuff that went down. That what was it? 92, 93?
93.
Okay, and
was it 92?
You might be right. No, Navy's right. 93. 93 is right.
Okay.
There was a lot of stuff going. We had Desert Storm. There are 2 shows around that time that really suffered because of Desert Storm. The Flash TV series and Mantis. And there was a couple of other ones in between there, but those 2 suffered because breaking news. Every time you'd be like, it's Friday or it's Thursday. It's Thursday night or it's Friday night. I'm watching these shows. Boom, sit down. 15 minutes in, 5 minutes in. You ain't even got the show started yet. I was like, You ain't got past the opening credits. Breaking
We interrupt
news.
this
I'm
program for breaking news. The
Right.
president is alive. So
like,
Hey, he gave
and
you that presentation at the halftime show that year as well, and then
yeah,
Jackson the next year. Oh,
there was it was talking about being upset of watching a
Mhm.
show that you felt represented and was a badass outfit.
Yeah.
Had a badass outfit, had a badass car. Like me and Spartan was watching this before the show tonight, and I told him, I said they could redo this show.
They really could.
but do they want to?
I think if I'll put it this way, if Carl Lumbly is on board and he gives his blessing, I think they can do it. But I think you will need his blessing. I think you will honestly need him because I think the showrunner is no longer with us. I don't think the showrunner is no longer with us that actually created the show. But if Carl is so willing, considering the fact that he just had a nice little run off the latest Captain America movie, I'm just saying you could do, especially given the fact that special effects and practical suits have made massive amounts of advancements. So no telling me, I mean, you don't need a lot to do Mantis. Mantis does not even have to be full CGI. You can turn around and do a practical suit. You can turn around and still, upgrade a lot of things because, hey, they tried it with Knight Rider. Except, you did it with a Ford Mustang instead of a Trans Am. I don't understand why, but still, you try to, I mean, if you give Knight Rider a shot, after they did the original, then Team Knight Rider, which went off to somewhere between the hours of don't know where and 3 a.m. on any given night, and then you did the revamp one. I even still say this: you could turn around and do Viper, you could do Airwolf, you could do Nighthawk. All those old Automan can still be done.
Jesus, Automan.
I'm like,
I was just thinking about him a second ago.
I'm just saying those shows. And again, this is just me because as a kid, I love the fact of Viper just because of that turned me on to Dodge Vipers, and Airwolf just because I don't like flying, but some odd reason I like helicopters. But no, it's just, and again with Mantis could work because again, it's a show that had plenty of potential. The original actor is still around. You can still make
you could damn near do a Batman Beyond style Mantis show.
Yeah.
Like he has to pass the suit down. Like it's too much on his body. If you remember the score behind Mantis, it was like the more he was, because he was paralyzed from the waist down, the more he wore that suit, the more his body depended on it, to the point where he's got to pass this on because it's tearing his body up.
It was literally the whole thing of the suit is killing you.
Yeah,
that's what they said in so many words. The suit is literally killing you.
Yeah, but it was bad. Like my guy, it was two variations of him wearing the suit. The first variation is when you see the full suit, but he's got a trench coat on.
Yeah, and
it was giving me Darkman vibes when you first see Liam Neeson being a badass. And then like after that, he didn't have the trench coat anymore, but he still had that car that, mind you, could transform into a floating, look like a spaceship. And I'm like, you could do an update to a show like this. You could, because if you looked at the tech that they had then, and here's the thing, it was very black centered. It was it had a lot of African themes in it as well. Like the issues that a lot of inner city people deal with now, they were dealing with then, and how to circumvent it and overcome a lot of that stuff. They had Fine As Gina Torres was in there. I'm looking at her and I'm like, well, this is another Angelus woman.
Damn, that made me think about damn it, I forgot to show that fast.
Wow, come on now, sir.
I will say Nightman, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. There was another show that could still work. Nightman was just good and terrible.
You talking about Shadow Man?
Yes.
Yeah, Shadow Man. Yeah.
Still one of my favorite video games. Although I wish the character on TV was actually the same black man that was on the video.
I was gonna be really petty and say you could have had a man called Hawk in the Mantis. You can bring him into that.
Hawk was a badass before even we realized what a badass was.
Yo, I'm getting so many cool words this week. It's ridiculous.
That is what?
I love that. Oh my god!
Really, Trey? The 8x11s. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Trey. Oh man, hold on.
That Trey, I'm using that one.
Oh man,
Never using
that's
that
a good
one.
That is good. It said in this climate we need a mantis and piss off the 8x11s. Yo, I love us so much, man. Like we and look, even Bama was like 8x11s. Sit on it for a second, Bama. Just give it a second.
Give it a second. It will come to you. Promise.
Oh my god. Somebody else. There's another name, the Hueless. And I'm like, yo, that's good. That's good. They said the Hueless. I'm like, y'all pulling it out, huh? But no, there's other. Mantis was like one of those shows that I just really look forward to seeing every single time. And I was really upset that it got canceled because that's what happened. It got canceled due to just having he said someone give a hit 8x11. What's normally 8?
Oh, dang, Zuckerberg got him.
Yo,
Zuckerberg got him.
the 8.
Oh shit! Here we go.
I have no idea.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Oh man, I thought we all got.
I don't know what
we
happened.
didn't have nice things. See, you need this fire toy. They need to leave it alone. This is what happens. This is why Lincoln Logs failed. Okay, because people didn't know how to leave shit alone.
He said, "Damn, the man got it."
I thought the punchline was coming. Zuckerberg said, "Nope."
He tried.
The 8x11s knew what was going on.
They tried, and we got them right back. But no, it's just the Madness is one of those shows that I really wish we could use. Yes, the brown hornet. Wow. The brown hornet. It was just one of those characters that I don't know why they can't just kind of embellish more on that. Same with Meteor Man. Shout out to Robert Townsend for also creating a character like that. Or blank.
You know the thing about the crazy part is Mr. Townsend can bring that back.
Yeah.
You can modernize that. You can modernize the Meteor Man for for now. You really could. He owns. I don't know if he owns it, but I think he has say in it.
Oh, I'm sure he owns it. I'm pretty sure he owns it.
I think they did the next generation for a lot of these heroes, but apply it to what goes on nowadays to modern issues. That would really make it resonate. But you can't insult the intelligence of the people who were fans of it before.
Right?
Please don't, because you're sacrificing an audience that was long established and were already genuine fans, like Carl Lumley as Mantis. I don't know what they were thinking the second season. I was like, okay, we're all the black folk. You put in every pudding cup known to man. Where are the real people?
Yeah,
when they realized
they even had Steve James in the pilot episode. And if you don't know who Steve James is, if you've seen I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, Kung Fu Joe, he was an actual martial artist.
Yep.
You know, and like there's a scene where he's talking to Gina Torres because Gina Torres is trying to, like, the night before she was in a traffic jam where it was a bunch of people trying to rob some people. They were on roller skates robbing people, and man shows up hanging from his ship and using his darts to immobilize them because he shoots the darts and they would just freeze no matter what position they were in. They would freeze because it was some kind of neurotoxin. And she was trying to figure out who could do what he was doing. So she goes looking around and she goes to like the local YMCA. And mind you, pay attention when you see it. You can look it up on YouTube. you watch this pilot, there are a lot of notable black actor and actresses in this show.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You just like, yeah, they were all. There was a lot of them in there, and she goes to the local YMCA where they're watching the kids play and where the teenagers play, and two kids was getting ready to get into it, and the coach, I can't remember the coach's name, but he's a notable actor, and he's breaking it up, and she's talking to him, and she sees this guy on the bars doing an Olympic style set in shape and everything, and she just figures she's on her lowest lane, and she's like, yeah, and what kind of solidifies it for her is as she's leaving, these group of guys outside the gym try to rob her. Steve James' character comes out, does the kung fu thing, and whoops their ass. So now she's just like, he's gotta be. He just took out like 5 guys by himself. No, this dude's got.
Maybe he just know how to fight. Yeah. He ain't got to wear a super suit. He just know how to fight.
Got hands.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those shows that you check out, and it's the 90s. There's going to be a level of cheese that you got to get through. It is what it is. But at the same time, when you see yourself being represented, and you see like really cool stuff, like even now by today's day, his car was cool.
It could hover. Where's my flying car?
His car, it was I can't remember what model car that was, but it could transform into it looked like a ship. And then it had another function that it didn't have to hover. It could just go to another function and drive like a regular car, which it did.
Supposedly it was a 69 Roadrunner they took the parts out of and basically made into that. So I can tell you initially what the car was, but yeah, it was a Roadrunner, which again, still my favorite that the guy knew his muscle cars. I'm kind of surprised about that.
Like it was a scene in there where the people in the police helicopters are chasing him, and he was just like, it looks like a 57 Chevy floating in the air. And I'm like, nah, that ain't it. But yeah, it is. Look, Val said it. It's good cheese, chili cheese. Yeah, it is. It's good cheese.
I mean, at the same time, that was still around the time when brothers was finally starting. 80s, 90s. So black men were finally starting to get leads. That was what 18 with Mr. T and 3 other shows I'm forgetting. 3. I know there was one on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. They had a black lead on that one, and
there were shows and movies. That's why I don't forget Eddie Murphy. Oh
yeah, Raw was not. Yeah, Raw was
Raw. Boomerang. And they gave him problems with Boomerang.
Oh,
you had a black man being it was about a bunch of black executives.
Yep, successful black. We can't have successful black people and have a movie about it.
Watch a majority of 90s films that were headlined by black people, and you be like, damn, we were in our bag.
That is true. Tommy Davidson had a lot of them. Between Tommy Davidson, David Allen Greer,
Damon Wayans, Eddie Murphy.
That was a lot of them.
Like
where they had a whole successful operation, whether it was in the streets or in the club.
Yeah,
like we gonna go to this club after work. Who's it ran by? David Allen Greer. Like, well, damn.
Imagine all them fools on the same movie lot. Jesus.
No comment.
No work got done.
Right.
But yeah, you also had like in other film and television roles, you had characters. Black Panther 2018, which kind of busted open the door for more black heroes. Miles Morales is made to come up. Black Lightning, Monica Rambeau in WandaVision and in the Marvels, which if you haven't seen the Marvels, shame on you. You need to go watch it. It's good. Mr. Terrific was in Arrow.
You beat me to it. I was about to say.
That was another Greg Baloney.
Yeah.
How dare you take one of the greatest figures in DC?
They nerfed him. Curtis was still smart. Don't get me wrong.
But you
But
depowered
they
his ass.
nerfed. They depowered him. They made him.
You basically made him Dell tech support.
No,
Yeah.
you minute riced him. That's what you did. You minute riced him.
Yeah. Well, I was like,
Not rice the roni. Minute rice.
It was bad. It was bad how they. I was like, well, at least you got the suit right. It's not hard to get that right. You got the suit right. You know, you gave him a couple really cool fight scenes. Like he had his teeth spheres in at least one or two scenes. But yeah,
it doesn't make sense. That's the reason why I didn't. I mean, I liked Arrow up until a certain season. I said it really should cut off into season 3, but that's just me. But the whole idea how they did Mr. Terrific, I'm like, come on now, this ain't it. And plus, how do you go from Afro to cornrows in a matter of minutes?
Well, see, here's the thing. When you get the Polaroids in their bag, they tend to change the picture. See that?
Very much. Trey, you got a point about Mafia 3. That was a good game. Although,
Mafia is right up there with, I think, the main GTA games in what could be a long-running series, because Lincoln was basically dealing with Jim Crow era stuff as a veteran, and then this man was fighting everybody from the fights.
The
immigrant came out on top for everybody. All it cost was investment.
Although you did get to mow down the KKK. So if anything in Mafia 3, you did get to mow them down. And then some.
So Mal says they made Mr. Terrific Mr. OK in the Arrowverse. So
right.
I'm like, yeah.
I would have said Mr. Fair to Midland.
Dang.
But it does. But I'm glad to say that we live in a time where we see more. Vixen gets more shine now than she ever did.
As well as
thank God for Justice League, the animated series. Thank God for that. You know, Storm never stepped out the spotlight, right? You know, so when you see a lot of these Steel was a major come up in the 90s.
Although Shaq did not do us no favors.
No, he did not. You talking about watching this thing.
The sad part, he's a comic fan. So you would figure he would have, I don't know, said this doesn't sound right. What are we doing?
And I think they capitalized on the fact that this was like pretty much at the height of Shaq's career.
Yeah.
Like he was at the pinnacle, and he was like, he wasn't even on the Lakers yet. You know,
I was like,
I love in Orlando.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Shaq, but if Michael Clark Duncan, God rest his soul, if I had to choose between one of them two, I'm going with him for Steel.
They said, look,
he's big and he can act.
Right.
Jordan doing Space Jam, this can work.
I would have thrown Kevin Graveau in there to be Steel.
Another one.
Yeah.
He would have done it.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially that voice. God damn.
They'd be like, he needs a voice modulator for the suit. No, when he's out of the suit, because they're gonna know who he is. That man starts deeper than mine.
That man starts talking. I'm like, dang, I'm back at my parents' house. I straighten up a little bit. Like,
oh my gosh.
I heard Kevin Graveau on a radio show years ago that it was I can't remember, it was Pop something, but it was like it wasn't even a podcast, it was a radio show. And that was the first time I heard him speak. They were talking about Underworld. That was the first time I heard him speak, and I thought something was wrong with my earphones because it was so gutturally deep that I was like outside, like my wife was like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I said, "Hold on, let me pause this and take it back." And I'm like, "Oh my God,
I do you one better. 2018 BlerdCon. I got to do his Q&A. That voice was
How many speakers did it blow?
How many audio?
No microphones. We were in a panel room, And that voice carried. And I think what made it really cool is every time he spoke, his little niece would walk up to and walk around. So I was like, we got us a second panelist over here. And, you know, she was a part of it and everything. And he came to me and said, thank you for including her into the panel. I said, you kidding me? That's generation right there. And that voice was like, I love him.
You ever seen somebody's voice so deep? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to wake you up. You ever seen somebody's voice so deep that it just vibrates?
That's what it does.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it. If my voice is deep, hello, I'm like, dude.
When you hear him in those
is
interviews,
that thunder? What is that?
What we hear in the interviews is how he is. There's none of those. Hey, you know, I'm here to, sir.
That's like, have you ever thought about auditioning for Howling Wolf? Just if he sung Smokestack Lightning, the audio tech is gonna be mad.
Like, do not piss this man off. I don't want to know what the yelling voice is like. I was like, God? Comment. Is that God?
No,
that would be like James Earl Jones, Morgan Freeman, and the Allstate guy all having a conversation. I don't want to be there. That would be too much.
But once again, it proves that seeing ourselves in all forms of media really does help. It puts people in a perspective. Like right now, seeing Anthony Mackie embody Captain America very well, by the way, for the show and the film, and just seeing him portray this character, because one, he's a counselor for soldiers. So he knows how to talk to people. He knows how to be personal, and he knows how to talk to, come through things from a different angles. Seeing a character like that, and then once again, we talked about it before. You can check out the article on blerdseyeview.org by Mayhem Media. The conversations between him and Isaiah Bradley, which once again, another character. And when you see what he's gone through, when you read about what he's gone through, when you see Carl Lumley once again being brought up, embody that character, you can't help but to see, if you look like us, you can't help but to see yourself in those moments.
Exactly.
In those conversations, because we've had those conversations. We know people who's been through those things. And so to see those type of things and be represented, you say what you want about the film, it's still number one. All right. It's still number one. It's not a trash film. You thought it was. It's made over 200. It's made almost 280 million.
I was going to say, actually on track to break the $500 million into it by, if not this weekend, next week. So they're going to make their profits back by this week or next week.
They made their money back the first weekend. Anyway, so
I was watching the new set of Moon Girl that just dropped. I didn't realize they had Sam Wilson's Captain America in this one too.
Yeah. So it's once again, and I'm glad you mentioned Moon Girl. These characters matter for so many reasons. It's cool to see other characters that don't look like you and have fun, because it's an escapism, it's fantasy. But when you see yourself being represented, when you see the fantasy from your perspective, that's when it really hits home, because now you're saying, look at the cultural shift that Black Panther created.
That part,
a literal cultural shift. I never felt more centered in up until that moment. My entire house was like, so what does he do again?
Actually, I'll give you two movies: Black Panther and The Harder They Fall.
The Harder They Fall. Yes.
Because I was like, Black Panther, I remember me and my folks, my first time my parents and I went to movie theaters together, and I ain't never seen, and you want to talk about connection, Black people were tearing up in Black Panther. I mean, almost every scene they're tearing up. And The Harder They Fall.
Drake.
you cannot sit there and tell me in The Harder They Fall that it wasn't a vibe from beginning to end. Spaghetti Western, sure. But did you ever feel like you couldn't relate to any of those characters?
That part.
Every last one of those characters that was in The Harder They Fall is a real cowboy or someone from a Western story. Those events weren't real, but the characters they played, all real. Bass Reeves,
that man. You sure you can catch me?
I wasn't expecting to see Bass Reeves in that movie. That was the furthest thing. But when they showed, I was like, "Oh shit, Bass Reeves!" And my son said, "Who's Bass Reeves?" I said, "Sit down, kid." I said, "Sit down. I'm about to teach you."
I know your son was like, "Who's Bass Reeves?" Damn it, I asked him. It's like, "Sit down, kid."
And all I said was, he's seen the Lone Ranger movie, the current with the modern one.
You mean the disgusting one?
Yeah, and I told him, I said, Bass Reeves is the blueprint for that character. And the first thing he said is, "Well, why did they?" Exactly.
Because you couldn't have a black man that was literally a bounty hunter that eventually became a U.S. Marshal. That his name was about as feared as a pirate on the seas.
When you can walk into a town or a reservation and they say they tipping their hat to you,
you're a bad man.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. What's his name? Henry Louis Gates. I wouldn't be surprised if they did the Discover Your Roots with Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson finds out, "Oh, I was related to Bass Reeves." Oh, well, that shit makes sense.
I was gonna say with his, I mean, your dad did kidnap Martin Luther King, so
yes.
Wow.
It's like that. I'm like, that kind of adds up to your family's history of doing stuff.
If he comes out, he's like, "Your distant relative is Bass Reeves," I would be like, that makes sense. I am not surprised.
Right.
The King playing the bad guy for the change was also different too.
Yeah. But once again, Shotgun Mary, all these characters that you see,
they were real.
Don't get talked about. They were completely real. That is probably the third show or film that I seen that mentioned Shotgun Mary. Because she was a fixture in Hell on Wheels that was on AMC. I think Whoopi Goldberg played her at one point.
Yep.
And then on The Harder They Fall. They had the Bass Reeves series on, is it Paramount? I think it's on Paramount.
Yeah, it's on Paramount.
So
it's a
really good series. It's a good series. So you check that out. But it shows once again why this matters. Why this matters? Y'all think it ain't BHM? It's not just because it's BHM. It's because this stuff matters. They will take that history and twist it unless we keep those stories going, saying, "No, this is how it really was. This is what really went down."
And the thing about it is, it causes a movement. Like I told people all the time, I said, "You want to know why black superheroes can be just as important?" I said, "You may not like him, but look at Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby gave you 3 shows that changed black culture." And I tell people all the time, you can look it up. Historically, A Different World increased black people going to college. By that,
yes, it did.
Cosby Show increased kids. Actually created more doctors and surgeons because of the Cosby Show. So there is that positive reinforcement. Fat Albert, another one, actually led to. Well, actually, I'm sorry, maybe I misremember this. The creator of Static Shock actually credited Fat Albert for him actually wanting to go into artwork, which eventually did lead to Static Shock. So 3 shows alone have literally shifted the culture. Imagine what happens if you have another black renaissance of television, of movies, of just stage plays. You'll basically do what was already done, give or take 50 years ago?
About that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes,
I think when we celebrate when we celebrate us, yes, we talk about some award shows here and there. We might talk about the Oscars, the Grammys or whatever. but the NAACP awards, oh no, that's us.
Black on black on black on.
That is a, you know how you you'll watch an award show and you'll see someone get nominated and you pray Viola gets it. You pray because they're great actors, and you pray they get it. You know, those other three nominees you may not have. You may know the actors, but you've never seen that film. But that one that looks like us and had that film or that project, we've heard or we've watched it, and we know that's solid. And they get snubbed. But then you go to the NAACP awards, and it's like you can't lose,
right?
Because it becomes a celebration of your work. It becomes a celebration of what you brought to the table. And when I say black ass moments,
there's black
ass moments. There's not every day you get Kerry Washington who's thanking Tyler Perry and bringing light to everything that's been in history, and then walk off the stage and then only to come back and say, I forgot to thank Tyler Perry, only for them to say, no, you did. And she has a walk off that was like, that's a black ass moment. And you can't do nothing but laugh.
Trey, give it time, sir. Give it time.
You're gonna be there, sir.
You're gonna be there. As a matter of fact, Trey, I think the time that you're gonna get that award, we're gonna be there to get the interview.
I just know we all gonna sit there and jump like Anthony Mackie's friends did when he saw them. That whole I love that scene. I love that. All his friends come together.
That's support. That is support, because once again you're portraying a character that represents it represents the country as it should be, and it represents a culture because you're proud.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like,
you
look at what you can do and make that happen.
That's why representation matters that freaking much. We're gonna hold you to that, Trey. I mean, it's just the whole thing. It's just when we're so used to seeing certain stereotypes, and now we're getting to see branch outs. I mean, just like I guess just to be completely out of subject. Take South of Midnight, for example. We want South of Midnight to succeed in the gaming world just because it is black, it is macabre, it is Bayou mythology, which a lot of people don't understand. Is that a thing? Yes.
Oh, most definitely,
it's a thing, because most of the characters in that game are based off Bayou mythology, and some off of Vodun, not voodoo, Vodun. So
thank you.
We want. I mean, that's the thing I was telling people. It's like, you have to understand, if that is successful, then again, what we're doing is we're inspiring those to sit there and say, hey, this can be done. And you're basically going to hopefully encourage others to do the same. Thank you. No more pimps or drug dealers. We got enough of them on Law and Order as it is.
Yes.
I really want South of Midnight to succeed, simply because the story does not insult the culture. It doesn't insult the characters. It's a story that Compulsion Games sat back and said, look, we're going to do this right. Because there are people who've been waiting for something like this that has not been whitewashed, sugar-coated, and covered in white paint, because we want to appeal to this demographic. We need to give respect to the culture, its source, and the people who tell these stories all the time, through the decades, through the generations. And this is something that's been long overdue. I know people are kind of upset because it's not completely done by black folk. Okay. And we have allies. We have people who see the struggle, and they're speaking up with us and for us. So why not make something where the story is told by us, by those who look like us?
And it looks beautiful.
It does. I can't wait for it to come out so I can play it, because I'm streaming the hell out of that.
So when you see, and I'm real quick, Tafari, you've been to New Orleans several times, right? For Essence, I think it was Essence Fest.
Essence Fest.
I'm sorry.
So I need to ask you: do you feel a different energy when you step into that area?
Yeah, you can kind of tell where especially post water damage, you can kind of see where like they kind of were able to salvage what we owned and what got bought up immediately. Which was like traveling back in time, because it's like the nightlife is so alive, but it's all of us at least dressed to a T and dressed to impress. Even if everybody is out getting drunk as a skunk, it's almost kind of like what Sinners is looking like. Everybody's wearing suits and whatnot, but they're out to go sin and drink gin. But there's like a level to it. You can be out and have fun, or what you'll walk past Common beatboxing on the street in 5 minutes for no reason. So you'll go to Bourbon Street and you just run into your favorite comedian just because. But the energy was cool. No weirdness or anything like it. So, but you can also kind of tell there's that energy that you might get from South of Midnight that comes within just being on the land.
And I think, and I've heard stories like that when you are in an area that culturally we have been ingrained in. You feel that energy. You feel that energy. Seeing Black Panther on the screen. First off, seeing the trailer during that Super Bowl made me shed a tear. My wife was like, "What?" I said, "You don't understand. I've been watching this. I've been reading about this character since I was 11. I finally get to see this person, and I feel a kinship. I feel seen." And then me and Chadwick were the same age, so just seeing that level of acting, and I was already paying attention and watching everything he was in. So I'm like, yeah, this dude is the truth. And then seeing that, seeing that type of stuff, that does stuff. Seeing Carl Lumbly portray people like Mantis and Isaiah Bradley, that does something. Seeing Anthony Mackie portray Captain America and really stick it to people. And like, this is how you do it. This is how you seeing Miss Allison do Storm and hearing that voice, and you're just like, Feige, don't fuck it up, because we're just like, do you understand? She has set the blueprint going forward, because now we are wanting this to be correct. When you see the series of Black Lightning, the TV series, CW be damned. There were plenty of moments in that show that was black ass.
Chocolate covered Incredibles.
When he said it, I was just like, I ain't mad at it.
Still,
it sounds crazy.
As well. Still,
it came from Dubai as well, so it sounds crazy. But I'm like, I know you insulting them. However,
yes, Trey. yes, Trey. Jill, Lady Eve, my lord,
man.
She
nailed that role. She really did. She added so much to that. So they got scared.
When you see these types of moments in shows and in comics and in film and just in video games and in entertainment in general, you feel a kinship with it, because you like, it feels good to be on the positive side of seeing that evolution, because I see Bama said, I hope Hollywood doesn't backslide. That's why we got Blerd Station.
Pretty much.
We're not worried about Hollywood. We're not worried about what they do. We can't count on them.
Right.
That's why you hear about Tyler Perry. You can say what you want about Tyler Perry, but the man went and said, I made enough money that I'm going to go down here and build my own studio and make my own rules.
He also did sit there and tell people, like, look, I was trying to get others to do what I'm doing, and the only thing he said out of this was, everybody heard me, but only Kevin Hart listened.
Yeah,
only Kevin Hart listened, and now he's doing what he is. And I think Anthony Mackie, again, I think he bought an army base and turned that into a studio in New Orleans. So again, as I was telling somebody else, we cannot depend on Hollywood to tell positive Black stories, because they've made too much money putting us in a negative light for generations.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to head out. Go ahead, do our quick sign off. So with that being said,
Wrap-up protocol initiated, Captain.
All right. Talk to him, Navy.
Not much to say. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, blurs of all ages, good evening. This is I, Navy Montel, your frosted bearded brother corner. If you want to know what I'm doing, tough. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm just kidding. If y'all want to hit me up, I'm all across social media on Navy Montel. I appreciate that. Tomorrow I start my journey to go home. Thank you for all the prayers and the love. And it's been a challenging week, and it's only Tuesday. Like, what the hell? But my family here at Blerd's Eyeview, my brother's here, my sister queens out yonder. I appreciate all of y'all for just keeping me uplifted. I appreciate that. I will not be in attendance on Thursday and probably not Tuesday, because Tuesday I'll be coming back.
Yeah.
But
it's starting to ramp up around here because of what you got to go do, and then Blerd Station and Blerd Con's getting ready to pop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still looking at that schedule because I'm like, do I want to, even though I'm not going to be there, will I run the show on Tuesday? Like, everybody's still just getting back. Like, they're going to look for recaps, and I'm like, I can't give them no recaps. What are you talking about? No, but we'll figure something out.
I appreciate everybody who's been checking on me. I really do. Thank y'all for all their love, and thank you.
All right. Spartan.
Yeah, you can find me Black_Spartan 615 on the socials as usual. Still covering shows because someone's got to cover the world news, and I'm going to be probably drinking after this one. But anyway, out of the fact we got here every Wednesday at 7. Gibbet podcast with myself, Tafara, and Joe on Friday, 8:30ish. Shows can be found where podcasts can be seen or heard. Definitely check out blerdseyeView.org website. We're all writing something. At the same time, if you are going to BlerdCon, say hi to Navy and Tafari. And I forgot everybody else is going because I'm kind of brain dead right now. But say hi, come out, enjoy, because I will definitely be jealous of all of you. At the same time, guys, the rules still certainly apply. Respect the cosplayer at all times. Please wash your ass. Cold and flu seasons and everything else is still coming up. Being that I got kids, my kids are walking petri dishes, which means if they get sick, I get sick. So wash your ass. It's not that hard. And the last rule I have for myself, I have for everybody else in a world that is cruel, because if you haven't seen lately, it is cruel. But be nice, be kind, share and talk your fandoms. Don't be a dick, and we'll all be cool.
Tafari.
Yeah, so semi-irregular posting schedule, still doing throwback stuff, still streaming. I'm going to be trying to finish The Walking Dead. If it's not a black character, it's up for everybody. Just letting y'all know that up front.
Operation Save the Black Man.
It's not even that. It's the fact that there are certain cutscenes. I have seen multiple people play this, and there are certain scenes I have not seen people do before because y'all cap certain characters like 2 episodes in. What else? Stream is coming up. So if you're at BlerdCon, I think we're going to be upstairs now. So we will be more.
I thought I got to look at this thing again. I could have swore it was the lobby area. He said the lobby.
Oh, don't tell me they moved y'all already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The main area walking in.
Yeah. So we're a floor up then versus last year, wouldn't we?
Yeah. The main floor. Yeah.
We'll be in the main floor. Feel free to walk by, say what's up, say hello, come peep the stream. Also, it's con season. A piece of advice: don't be afraid to reintroduce yourself. It's been like a full calendar year since some of your friends have seen you. Folks look different. Facial hair comes and goes. That's the thing. Leave.
Hey, look! I went the whole salt and pepper. Look at that.
But yeah, a couple other things I have coming up towards the ending of this month, beginning of next month, that I've had tucked away for a while, and I'm realizing I scheduled those way back, and you'll see those in a bit. But be on the horizon, things are happening.
Right. Check out the show Tuesdays, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Twitch. Remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. And here's a line that I learned from a show. Oppression breeds rebellion. Keep fighting. And of all places, it was Andor. Learn that.
Damn.
people are fighting back. Thank you, Jasmine Crockett. People are speaking their minds.
Ooh, that woman.
Stand on business. Do not give up. Do not listen to old. And for those who have been on the wrong side of history, we see you. You ain't forgot. You know what to do with it.
Might have been on the losing side, still convinced it wasn't the wrong one.
That part.
And since you feel that way, we're not trying to convince you. We just put you out the pasture. Ain't no talking. But with all that, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and that notification bell on the YouTube channel. Give us a follow on the Twitch channel. Tell a friend, spread the word, have some fun. Don't be afraid to donate. Help us support the stream. They keep trying. The 8x11s and the Hewletts have tried, and they failed again. I tell you, I'm a pirate throughout my blood. I'm a pirate through and through. You're not gonna keep me down. So with that being said, we will see you guys Thursday. Who knows what we'll be talking about, but it'll be black as ass. It'll be black ass. So stay tuned. Have fun. Enjoy your nerdiness. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. We will see you soon.
Bye.